So, in our talk about kings and queens in the realm of horror, well, you can't really get into kings and queens of horror and not talk about who is widely considered to be the greatest scream queen of them all, Jamie Lee Curtis. And most people talk about, of course, they talk about Halloween. They talk about Halloween. Hell, they even talk about Halloween 2. They talk about Prom Night. But there's one that, frankly, I think deserves a lot more love than I think it's given. It's the one that was actually her last horror film. And what?
Oh, were you talking about Terror Train?
Well, yeah, we're talking about Terror Train.
Wait. Oh! That's the queen you meant.
Yeah, because, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's a scream queen.
Oh.
Oh. You've all heard of comfort food, the kind of food you like.
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
Tracking up.
Terror Train.
Hey, take it easy, man. What are you doing? Oh, my God. Help! Please! Nice gag,
It's going to be the one party to end them all.
Terror Train it's a film that I can understand why it was forgotten for the longest time. I mean, anatomically speaking, on a plot level, one could call it generic. One could call it like just, it's a killer on this or a killer here.
Yeah, it's Die Hard killer on a
yeah. Whereas action movies was always Die Hard on a or in a.
This is Halloween on a.
And that is actually what was one of the machinations behind this movie was Halloween on a. And there was a whole slew of them because again, Halloween was such a juggernaut, especially in Canada. And Jamie Lee Curtis did a lot of her horror films she did was out of Canada. I believe Prom Night was out of Canada, and so was this one. This one was also fascinating because the director of this film went on to do some pretty impressive work later on down the line. It was directed by Roger Spottiswoode. Now, granted, he directed what I consider to be one of my favorite Bond films, but he also directed what I'm sure Schwarzenegger would consider to be the funniest film ever made. Again, Google that shit. It's kind of freaking amazing. But he mainly did this film. This is one of those prime examples of a filmmaker who wanted to break into the industry, so he just did whatever film was thrown at him, and he decided to commit to doing it the best way possible to show that he could competently direct a film.
He did good.
He is not a horror director by any stretch of the imagination, but because he wanted to prove what he can do as a filmmaker, honestly, he made a pretty well done horror film.
I mean, I think my only actual issue with, truly, let's be picky, is that it's set in New Year's. It's a New Year's Eve movie. And I'm like, oh, you could have just made this Halloween, because everyone's in costumes. And I know that's a thing that apparently people wear costumes for New Year's, because I know that was in Trading Places as well.
Yeah.
On a train, which I'm like, with Jamie Lee Curtis, which is fucking weird. So I just realized that.
Yeah.
I wish maybe it'd just been a Halloween movie.
It's just a big prank.
Are we having fun yet?
They were waiting.
That being
And
said,
David Copperfield randomly being in it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Fine.
No
Good for
idea the
him.
rhyme or reason for that. At this point, he was a up and coming magician too. And I will say this: he actually was a pretty decent actor in the film too.
Oh no, he actually acts really well.
Yeah,
he's good.
Well, there's points in the all right. So synopsis time: outside of a college, where at a bonfire party, well, unfortunately, a hazing goes horrifically wrong.
Kiss me.
And 3 years down the line, all those same students who were involved in that all decide to do a pretty much, I guess it's like their last hurrah before they graduate party.
It's the richest guy. He rents out the train.
Played by Ellis from Die Hard.
Yeah, that's not
just as douchey as ever.
Yeah, really?
Oh no, actually, I would even say this character he plays here is way worse than Ellis.
He's not like 80s Wall Street douchey. He is like entitled
white privilege asshole,
rich boy douchey. So
yeah,
it's kind of a different douchey, but. He like rents out the entire train for all of his friends and all of the students, so they're having a party. They got a magician who's David Copperfield,
and and magician with assistant, but unfortunately on this party there is a killer running rampant, and the killer in question has something to do with that hazing that occurred a long time ago.
They don't hide like the one thing the film does not hide is. You know who the killer is, but you don't know where they are.
Yeah, that's actually you hit the nail on the head. Is why I love this film so much is because they used. I'm always a firm believer that if your concept relies heavily on the setting, use that setting, and this film uses that setting.
It absolutely does.
Yeah,
and the situation where everyone's wearing costumes because the killer. Instead of having just one costume, like Scream or
Michael
Myers or whatever, they have the one outfit and that's it. This killer kills somebody, takes their outfit because they're all wearing costumes, and keeps moving through. So they're like, "Yo, my friend, whatever," and it's like, "Ain't your friend? That person's 50 pounds lighter, you dumbass." But they're all drunk, so they don't.
Yeah, exactly. They're all drunk and in a haze.
I
so
mean,
you don't
honestly, it's the Hero Marks. Outfit.
Yeah,
that's it's usually the.
That's
poster,
like the one that's on the poster and.
The actor playing the killer. Has to emote through this cheesy ass mask, and it's actually kind of terrifying because you're like, this person's fucking pissed, and they want to take you out.
Jamie Lee Curtis, we have to definitely sing praise for her on this one.
Well, yeah.
This may be one of my favorite roles during her run of horror roles, principally because I liked how compassionate she was. I liked how in that initial hazing. You actually see that even she wasn't 100% aware of of what they were doing.
I love her as Laurie Strode. I love her as everything.
I really love her as Laurie Strode.
Let me just honestly say, I love everything Jamie Lee Curtis has ever done,
especially on Instagram.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But like all of her performances that I've ever seen, she's wonderful. This one, she actually plays a character who has remorse, has compassion, and actually listens and is. A person you would want to be friends with. And it's not in the final girl style. Like, she is technically the final girl, but at the same time, you actually almost don't know if she is. Like, the film does play it a little loose where you're kind of like, she was part of the situation.
She was,
and, she didn't do anything after it. She's part of the problem. And if you were the victim killer person, you wouldn't see anything different. Like you can.
And I will say the final scene where they do finally meet and confront each other at the very end. I love that scene because it's so tense because she was the only one who legitimately feels any kind of remorse for it, and I believe
why would they know that?
I believe there was even an illusion that she actually did try to go visit him at the hospital, because after the incident he actually was committed. Yeah,
they kind of shoehorn in this person was kind of messed up to begin with. I will say that is my biggest issue with the film, aside from I feel like it should have been Halloween based and not New Year's. They kind of shoehorn in that the killer had a history of being violent and mentally unstable. I kind of wish they just not said that, and that this hazing alone broke this person. Like that they weren't busted or upset or messed up beforehand, because I feel like that's just kind of like, oh well, this alleviates them from what they did to this person.
Yeah, that this person was already no.
Yeah, I'll fuck this person up.
Yeah, if you look,
you should be held accountable.
If you look at the history of hazing.
Yeah.
For fraternities, they do some fucked up shit, which actually has resulted in people dying.
Yeah, and I just feel like that was almost trying to alleviate the responsibility of those who caused the hazing that hurt this person by claiming, oh, well, they were messed up beforehand. No. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I openly will say, I didn't like that part of the story.
Fortunately, all the characters who were okay with the hazing, the movie still does a pretty good job vilifying those characters.
Yeah, I know. You're not sad when they
I'm really not sad when most of them get killed. Especially one guy, well, the guy who initially, the first kill in the movie, who does this, like, a impromptu stand-up sequence, I would even say is even more cringe than the guy in Hack-A-Lantern.
Open your eyes. Come on, look at me. Just my luck, she's a lesbian.
Oh, and I was like, fucker, you couldn't die fast enough. And ironically, he was the first one to go. So I was like, good riddance.
So, should we just hit the spoilers?
We should.
Okay, so the whole movie, the first time I ever watched this movie, I was like, okay, so where is the killer? Where are they hiding? I know who he is. I met him at the beginning of the movie. Where is he hiding? I was like, that is a skinny dude. He is skinny. So I was looking at every skinny person in that freaking movie. I was like, the only skinny person is the assistant to David Copperfield.
Oh, what?
Damn!
And it turns out the actor who plays the killer actually was a professional drag queen at the time.
And a damn good one.
And a really good one. Like,
a really good drag
like,
queen.
Damn. I argue they overdubbed the actor.
Yeah, that was a bit, yeah.
When the assistant speaks, that's not.
They overdubbed.
That's not the actor's voice. But yes, that's where the killer was hiding in plain sight, was the assistant to David Copperfield. And I'm like, damn. I mean, the only reason I'm just stereotypical is that I was watching body shapes because this individual was so skinny, I could kind of call it out. But I was just like, damn, dude, damn. I mean, I hope they had a great career because they were really good.
Yeah. Though I will say this, I don't know who. I mean, the writer of the script must have been a magic enthusiast, because one key thing you do with magic is the idea of sleight of hand, and I love that the movie was actually trying to make you suspect that the killer was David Copperfield.
He did, because he did resemble the actor when you see him in the flashbacks. I mean, he's wearing glasses, but has a bit of a David Copperfield look, like the hair and the style.
But also the fact that the movie really does.
They do
focus
that idea, like...
Well, they focus a lot on how freaking amazing David Copperfield is as a magician, even to the point where there's a lot of sequences of up-close magic that you see, which granted...
on film lost, but we can... Listen, it's David Copperfield, let's just go with it.
The guy made the Statue of Liberty disappear, so
yeah,
you know
like,
what, we'll give him
go.
that. But
my parents went to see him live. I was very angry I didn't get to go.
Yeah, so this was kind of... So it was not beyond the sphere of possibility that David Copperfield may have been...
Like, yeah, it was a big red hair.
May have been Kenny.
But it was...
Yeah.
The assistant. And I'm like, dude, that is a sleight of hand. It's so well... that execution I love so much.
And I will say this, even with that, it does culminate in a pretty damn white-knuckle finale.
Yeah.
Where he's giving chase to Jamie Lee Curtis. There's an incredibly tense sequence where she's very smartly locked herself in the engineer's cage of the thing, and it's tense because he is trying to poke Rod in, and she's trying to avoid it. It's a really on a tension level. This is extremely well crafted.
I also commend them for choosing the outfit for the killer at that time, because again, he changes his costume every time. It was like this old man,
like a monk
looking character.
Well, he swipes one of his victims, like the asshole character. He swipes.
Yeah, and it's just unsettling to see. He's super. Is not a big, like I said, he's super skinny, smaller guy, but he's just freaking intimidating. Like, all of it comes through, even with the mask and everything. All that intimidation comes through, and that anger and that fury just comes through.
Absolutely, and then it just leads into that fantastic final at the table confrontation. This is, Jamie Lee Curtis, Alana, is like the one character who is legitimately remorseful and who really wants to make it up to Kenny, but Kenny is just so far gone at this point that he can't.
I mean, you can't argue why he'd be that far gone. I mean, if he was far gone before, he's never going to come back. And it's tragic because this was all added on to, you know?
Yeah.
And he's lost it completely at this point. And there is no bringing him back. He is completely out of it. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if you had not done that hazing, could he have been okay? Like, even though they try to throw in that, he wasn't okay before that, I really feel like that's just trying to justify, like, try to alleviate the guilt from those who did the hazing. I really feel like that was a bad attempt to do that. I really kind of like, in my head canon, is that their hazing is what broke him. That maybe he had other issues deep down that they didn't know. Who knows?
Air Train did come under fire, though. In lieu of it, even though, it's one of those ones that did come into fire because unfortunately this was a thing in a lot of horror movies and a lot of other movies. The demonization of drag queens, trans, that was...
What?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't... The actor was a drag queen.
Yeah, the actor was a drag queen.
We don't know the context of... The problem is, the movie has no context as to if he used that position as a loophole. If there's no indication to me that this character was trans in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. They do not indicate that. They do not indicate that the person, he's gay or anything like that. LGBTQ. There is no indication of that. Yes, the actor was a drag queen. Anyone can be a drag queen. Just fucking doesn't matter. If that was coming under fire of, the villain was hiding out as the female, that honestly, the way I saw it was they were picking the least likely place to hide. If you wanted to hide and infiltrate a place, where would you hide? You would hide in the least likely location. It happened that the actor was a actual drag queen. That's why they were effective when you didn't even realize that was the actor when they were performing as the assistant. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to hire a actor to portray someone to sleight of hand, a professional drag queen would be a freaking smart move because you can do that.
Yeah.
But there was no indication of anything about Kenny's sexuality, gender identity. There was nothing about that. There was no indication on that. So if anyone's complaining about that, it's simply that the actor was a drag queen, a professional drag queen, and was hired to literally do what this actor does well. I'm not saying I'm any expert in the drag community or anything. I cosplay male and female characters, but that's what I say. If it came under fire because they were implying that it's, you know what? These are 80s horror films. Everything is almost implication. It's never actual, because in the 80s they wouldn't have fucking allowed that shit. I'm not saying it's shit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it was coming under fire, you know what? I'm happy that they hired a drag queen to do the job. Actually, not hire a female woman and pretend like it's like Austin Powers-ing it. The actor did an amazing job. I would kill to see them as a drag queen on stage because they fucking look good. And power to them. In
fact, actually, if the actor who played Kenny is still around today, please make yourself known. We would love to, first off, salute you.
Damn.
We would love to salute you because you did an amazing job.
You did a great job.
And frankly, judge on Dragula. Oh.
The Boulets would love that.
The Boulets would love that.
That's just... Yeah. My personal opinion as an LGBTQ individual myself is that, no, I don't feel that that's an argument. The character is unknown, but I respect that an actor who is a drag queen is hired to play a character who has to hide out as a woman to infiltrate. I think that it looks good. Actor did a great job. Amazing work. Honestly, I hope they got more drag gigs, to be honest.
And even though you picked it out, admittedly, I didn't spot it at first.
I admit I only spotted it from body frame. And I looked a little closer and went, is that the same person?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you look good. I will say, you look good.
So there's a lot of great talking points about Terror Train. I mean, first off, we do have an amazingly memorable killer character, and you know what? In the slew of things that came out in the 80s, a very memorable one to boot. One that actually had a really great angle that is unique in and of itself. And it's a film that really took advantage of its setting. Actually had a very compelling, actually had a lot of good memorable characters. And for the final horror film that Jamie Lee Curtis said before she decided, I gotta do other things. Honestly, this was another one that she doesn't. And to her credit, and I've seen all of the ones she's done now, including Road Games, she does not sleepwalk through any of those films.
No, Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't think could. No, she's a magical, amazing person, and I think every time she does a film, she gives it her all. She gives it nuances, and it's just magical in every way, shape, or form.
And by the time we're recording this, Halloween Ends has not come out. By the time it airs, we're just going to assume that she's freaking amazing in that again.
I know she's amazing in it, so not a question.
So for this edition of Discomfort Flicks, Jamie Lee Curtis, we do salute you. Roger Sposwood, we also salute you, even though you just did this for a paycheck and just to show that what you can do. Well, you did a lot for a film that you weren't passionate about, so credit to you for that. You definitely did a better job of this than showing Sylvester Stallone in diapers.
Mommy, I don't want to be changed.
I've got to change you.
Will you stop trying to change me?
And for the rest of you, have you not seen this one? I strongly recommend you do.
It's on Joe Bob.
Yeah, it's on Joe Bob, and it's actually a really great episode. So for this edition of Discomfort Flicks, if you love this movie, please comment below. And in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, click, thou shalt be served.